The 4-Hour Body, an uncommon guide to rapid fat loss, incredible sex, and becoming superhuman, by Timothy Ferriss. Introduction. Imagine this for a moment. You're backstage at a 9 Inch Nails concert. The music is so loud you can feel it in your bones. Over 20,000 people are screaming, and the energy is electric. But in the men's restroom, something strange is happening. A man, in complete silence, is doing air squats in one of the stalls. Not just a few, but 40 to be exact. His friend later bursts out laughing, telling everyone about the bizarre sight. Later that night, the same man sits down and eats 2 entire barbecue chicken pizzas. Nearly 4,400 calories. And that was his 4th meal of the day. For breakfast, he'd had 2 chocolate croissants and 2 massive pastries called bear claws. You'd think this man would wake up feeling bloated, heavy, and regretful. You'd think he'd be on the fast track to gaining weight. But 72 hours later, when he measures his body fat, he's actually lost fat. In just 14 days, following this strange pattern of disciplined eating punctuated by insane binges, he dropped from nearly 12% body fat to just over 10%. That man was Timothy Ferriss, and his body was his laboratory. This story isn't just a strange anecdote, it's the perfect introduction to one of the most unconventional and effective health books ever written, The 4-Hour Body. This isn't your typical diet book. It doesn't tell you to eat more greens or exercise more. In fact, it argues that most popular advice is wrong. Tim Ferriss, a man who spent over $250,000 on self-experimentation, turned himself into a human guinea pig to answer a simple question: what is the smallest possible change that can produce the biggest possible result? He calls this the minimum effective dose. And today, I'm going to share with you the incredible secrets he uncovered. By the end of our time together, you will understand how to get remarkable results in fat loss, muscle gain, and overall performance by doing less, not more. You will learn how to rewrite the rules of your own biology. This isn't about theory, it's about what works in the real world. So, get comfortable, and let's begin our journey into the fascinating world of the 4-Hour Body. Book summary. So, where do we begin? The foundation of everything in the 4-Hour Body rests on one powerful idea, a concept that changes how you look at effort and results forever. It's called the minimum effective dose, or MED. Think about boiling water. To get water to boil, you need to heat it to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, or 100 degrees Celsius. Once it's boiling, it's boiling. Heating it to 300 degrees won't make it more boiled. All that extra energy is wasted. The same principle, Ferriss argues, applies to the human body. To trigger fat loss, you only need to do the least amount necessary to start a specific hormonal cascade. To build muscle, you only need to apply the least amount of stimulus to kickstart the growth process. Anything beyond that MED is not just wasteful, it can actually work against you, leading to burnout, injury, and frustration. This idea came from a brilliant, angry genius named Arthur Jones, the inventor of Nautilus exercise machines. Jones was famous for proving you could get incredible results with brutally short, intense workouts. He once put 63 pounds of muscle on a professional bodybuilder in just 28 days, with workouts that were often less than 30 minutes. Jones knew that more is not better. Better is better. And often, better means less. This single idea, the minimum effective dose, is the key that unlocks everything else. It forces us to ask a different kind of question. Not how much more can I do, but what is the smallest thing I can do to get the result I want? But before you can apply that principle, you need a reason. A powerful, undeniable reason to change. Most of us fail at diets and workout plans not because the advice is bad, but because our why isn't strong enough. It's a nice to have, not a must-have. Ferriss calls the moment this changes the Harajuku moment. It's an epiphany, a tipping point where a desire becomes a necessity. He tells the story of a man named Chad Fowler, a brilliant computer programmer who had been overweight for more than a decade. For years, he just went with the flow, wishing he were healthier but never taking action. One day, he was in the Harajuku district of Tokyo, famous for its incredible fashion. As his friends shopped, he stood outside, feeling frumpy and out of place. He turned to his friend and said something that would change his life. "For me, it doesn't even matter what I wear. I'm not going to look good anyway." As the words left his mouth, he heard them. He heard the helplessness in his own voice. Here he was, a man who succeeded at everything he put his mind to: career, music, languages, but when it came to his own body, he was acting like a powerless victim. He realized he had allowed being unfit to become part of his identity. That was his Harajuku moment. It wasn't about the clothes. It was about realizing he was living an incomplete life, and he had the power to change it. Once he made that decision, everything became easy. He went on to lose over 70 pounds. So, the first step isn't a diet plan or a workout. It's finding your reason. What is the one thing that will make changing a non-negotiable part of your life? Once you have your reason, the next step is to face the truth. And the truth starts with measurement. Because what gets measured, gets managed. Ferriss is adamant about this. Don't just rely on the bathroom scale. Weight can be deceptive. You might be losing fat and gaining muscle, and the scale won't move an inch. This is where most people get discouraged and quit. Instead, you need a physical GPS. Take before photos of yourself in your underwear. Front, back, and side. They will probably look worse than you expect. Good. Put the least flattering one on your refrigerator. This photo becomes your defense against self-sabotage. When you're tempted to cheat, it will be there, reminding you of why you started. Next, get a tape measure. Measure your upper arms, waist, hips, and upper legs. Add these numbers together to get your total inches. This number, along with your body fat percentage, is a far better indicator of progress than your weight. Facing these numbers and photos isn't about shame. It's about creating a starting point. It's about making the problem conscious, so you can begin to solve it. And this brings us to the most famous part of the book, the Slow-Carb Diet. This is the protocol that has helped thousands of people lose 20 pounds of fat in 30 days, often without any exercise at all. The diet is built on 5 simple, non-negotiable rules. Rule 1. Avoid white carbohydrates. This means no bread, no rice, not even brown, no pasta, no potatoes, no cereal. If it's white, or can be white, you don't eat it. These foods are easily converted into stored fat. If you just follow this one rule, you're already halfway there. Rule 2. Eat the same few meals over and over again. This might sound boring, but it's the secret of the most successful dieters. It removes decision-making and makes compliance almost automatic. You build your meals from 3 simple groups: protein, legumes, and vegetables. For protein, eggs, especially egg whites, chicken, beef, fish. For legumes, lentils, black beans, pinto beans. This is critical. Legumes provide the calories and fiber you need to feel full and energized. For vegetables, spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, green beans. Mixed vegetables are your best friend. You can eat as much as you like of these approved foods. This is not about calorie restriction. Eat until you're full. Rule 3. Don't drink your calories. Drink massive amounts of water. Unsweetened tea and coffee are fine. But no milk, no soft drinks, and absolutely no fruit juice. A single glass of fruit juice can have as much sugar as a can of soda. The only exception Ferriss makes is for 1 or 2 glasses of dry red wine per evening. Rule 4. Don't eat fruit. This is a tough one for many people. But the primary sugar in fruit, fructose, is very efficiently converted by the liver into the building blocks of fat. For 6 days a week, you just say no to fruit. Tomatoes and avocados are the only exceptions, and avocados should be eaten in moderation. And this leads to the rule that makes it all possible. Rule 5. Take 1 day off per week. This is your cheat day. Ferriss calls it Dieters Gone Wild Day. For 24 hours, usually on a Saturday, you can eat anything you want. Ice cream, pizza, pastries, beer, nothing is off limits. Go crazy. This isn't just for your sanity. This scheduled binge actually helps you lose more fat. It spikes your caloric intake and prevents your metabolism from slowing down, which is what normally happens on a long-term diet. It's a strategic reset button for your hormones. That's it. 5 rules. Avoid white carbs, repeat a few simple meals, don't drink calories, no fruit, and take 1 day off to go nuts. Now, you might be thinking, what about that pizza binge at the 9 Inch Nails concert? How did he lose fat after eating like that? This is where it gets really interesting. Ferriss developed a damage control protocol for these cheat days to minimize fat gain. The goal is to shuttle as much of the food you eat into your muscles instead of your fat cells. He does this with 3 principles. First, he blunts the release of insulin, the body's main storage hormone. He makes sure his first meal of the day is high in protein, which reduces appetite later. He also uses things like cinnamon, grapefruit juice, and lemon juice with his cheat meals, all of which have been shown to help control blood sugar. Second, he increases the speed at which food moves through his system. Caffeine is a key player here. The faster food passes through, the less of it gets absorbed. And third, and this is the craziest part, he does brief muscular contractions right before and about 90 minutes after his biggest cheat meals. This is where those bathroom air squats come in. Just 60 to 90 seconds of exercise, like air squats or pushing against a wall, activates something in your muscles called GLUT4 transporters. Think of them as little gateways that open up to receive glucose. By opening these muscle gateways right before a big rush of sugar hits your bloodstream, you're essentially telling your body, send the calories here, to the muscles, instead of to your fat cells. It's a brilliant hack that allows you to enjoy your cheat day without undoing all your hard work. So that's the plan for subtracting fat. But what about the other side of the equation? What about adding muscle? This is where Ferriss shares the story of how he went from geek to freak, gaining an astounding 34 pounds of muscle in just 28 days. And he did it with a total of only 4 hours of gym time. The program he used is called Occam's Protocol, named after Occam's razor, the principle that the simplest solution is usually the best one. It defies almost everything you see in mainstream fitness magazines. Instead of spending hours in the gym doing dozens of exercises, you do very few. Maybe just 2 to 4 exercises per workout. Instead of doing 3 to 5 sets of each exercise, you do only 1 set. But that 1 set is taken to absolute muscular failure, the point where you physically cannot move the weight another inch. Instead of lifting the weight quickly, you lift with a super slow cadence. 5 seconds up, and 5 seconds down. This eliminates all momentum and keeps the muscle under constant tension, which is a powerful trigger for growth. And here's the most counterintuitive part of all. As you get bigger and stronger, you go to the gym less frequently. You have to increase your recovery time. A bigger, stronger muscle needs more time to repair and grow. You might start with a workout every Monday and Friday, but after a few weeks, you might only train once every 5 days, or even once a week. The workouts themselves are brutally short and simple. One workout might just be a close grip pull-down and a machine shoulder press. The next might be a slight incline bench press and a leg press. That's it. One set of each, to failure, with that slow 5/5 count. The real work, Ferriss explains, isn't in the gym. It's in the kitchen. To support that kind of rapid growth, you have to eat a lot. The book details high-calorie shakes and the old-school bodybuilding secret of GOMAD, a gallon of milk a day, for those who have trouble gaining weight. The story of Casey Weater and the Colorado experiment in the 1970s is a testament to this principle. Under the guidance of Arthur Jones, Weater gained 63 pounds of muscle in 28 days. The workouts were short and infrequent. The stimulus was just the trigger. The food and rest were what built the muscle. So, you can subtract fat with a slow-carb diet, and you can add muscle with Occam's protocol. But what if you don't want to add 34 pounds of muscle? What if you're a woman who just wants to lose that last 10 pounds and get a perfectly toned physique? Ferriss introduces an exercise he calls the Jewel, the single most effective movement for total body transformation, especially for women. It's the two-handed kettlebell swing. He tells the incredible story of Tracy Reifkind, a woman who lost over 100 pounds. Her secret wasn't endless cardio or crash dieting. It was the kettlebell swing, performed just twice a week for about 20 minutes. This single exercise works the entire posterior chain, the glutes, hamstrings, and all the muscles of the back. It builds a powerful athletic physique, burns an incredible amount of fat, and is responsible for what Ferriss calls the perfect posterior. It's the ultimate minimum effective dose for building a strong, lean body. Just 2 workouts a week, focusing on 50 to 75 swings, combined with a clean diet, can produce head-turning results in less than a month. The 4-hour body goes deep into so many other areas, each one a fascinating exploration of hacking human potential. There's the section on effortless superhuman, where a coach named Barry Ross teaches how to gain incredible strength with almost no weight gain. His secret? Lifting heavy, for very few reps, just 2 or 3, and never going to failure. He trains his athletes to see strength not as a feat of brute force, but as a neurological skill. He teaches them to do as little as needed, not as much as possible. Using his methods, I personally added over 100 pounds to my deadlift in less than 2 months. Then there's the Ice Age chapter, which explores using cold exposure to accelerate fat loss. It tells the story of Ray Cronus, a NASA scientist who wondered how swimmer Michael Phelps could eat 12,000 calories a day. The answer wasn't just the swimming, it was the cold water. Cold exposure activates something called brown adipose tissue, or BATE, which is a type of fat-burning fat that generates heat by burning your regular white fat. Simple things like placing an ice pack on your neck for 20 minutes in the evening, taking cold showers, or drinking ice water in the morning can significantly boost your metabolic rate. And of course, there's the section on improving sex. This isn't just about technique, it's about hacking your hormones. Ferriss details his own journey of discovering his testosterone levels were low and how he tripled them naturally. No injections, no prescriptions. He used a simple protocol involving specific foods and supplements, many of which are surprising. Things like fermented cod liver oil, high-dose vitamin D3, and Brazil nuts. He explains how cholesterol, which we've been taught to fear, is actually the precursor to all sex hormones, and how eating specific high cholesterol meals the night before can dramatically boost libido and performance. He also dedicates 2 chapters to demystifying the female orgasm, framing it as a skill that can be practiced and perfected. He shares a 15-minute technique, learned from experts in the field, that focuses on goalless, mindful practice. The key insight is that orgasm isn't something a man gives a woman. it's something he helps her achieve herself. By removing the pressure of performance and focusing on a very specific, light touch, he describes it as the pressure of 2 sheets of paper, it becomes possible for women to have consistent, powerful orgasms. Finally, the book ventures into the realm of endurance. Could you go from being a non-runner to completing a 50-kilometer ultramarathon in just 12 weeks? Ferriss introduces Brian McKenzie and the CrossFit endurance method, which turns conventional long-distance training on its head. Instead of long, slow runs, you focus on high-intensity interval training, strength training, and perfect running mechanics. The idea is to teach your body to be more efficient, so you can run farther and faster with a fraction of the traditional training volume. Throughout all these different sections, the underlying message remains the same. Your body is a system that can be understood and optimized. The popular advice is often based on incomplete science or marketing. By questioning everything, tracking your own results, and applying the minimum effective dose, you can achieve things that seem superhuman. It's not about magic. It's about a better method. Commentary. When you step back and look at the 4-hour body as a whole, it's easy to get lost in the sheer volume of information. The book is, as Ferriss calls it, a buffet. There are sections on everything from extending your lifespan to holding your breath longer than Houdini. But if you zoom out, you realize this book isn't really about body hacks. It's about a mindset. It's a Trojan horse. You pick it up because you want to lose 20 pounds or build a better body, but what you walk away with is a new way of thinking that you can apply to every other area of your life. The most powerful lesson, for me, is the idea of the experimental lifestyle. Ferriss isn't presenting himself as a guru with all the answers. He presents himself as an explorer, a guide who is willing to try the strange, unconventional things to see what works. He's inviting you to do the same. To stop blindly following the one-size-fits-all advice from magazines and so-called experts, and to start treating your own body as a laboratory of one. This is an incredibly empowering message. In a world where so much feels out of our control, the economy, politics, the actions of others, the book reminds us that our own physical reality is almost always within our command. Controlling your body puts you back in the driver's seat of your life. I remember my father, after he lost over 70 pounds using these principles. The physical change was remarkable, but the mental and social shift was even more profound. He told me he felt like he had lost his invisibility. People started taking him more seriously, asking for his opinion. But more importantly, he started taking himself more seriously. After doing something he thought was impossible, losing all that weight, all the other impossibles in his life started to look a lot more possible. That's the real magic of this book. The confidence you gain from taking control of your physical self spills over into everything else. It becomes the foundation upon which you can build a more effective, more adventurous, and more fulfilling life. So, how can you start applying these ideas today? Here are 3 simple actions. First, pick just one goal. Don't try to do everything at once. Look at the buffet of options in this book and choose the one thing that excites you most. Is it losing fat, gaining strength, improving your sleep? Focus on one single target. Second, for the next 7 days, start measuring something. Anything. Take a before photo. Use a tape measure. Track what you eat by taking a picture of every meal before you eat it. You don't even have to change what you're eating yet. The simple act of awareness is often enough to spark a change. Remember, what gets measured gets managed. Third, try one uncommon experiment. Choose one small, low-risk hack from the book and give it a shot. Maybe it's doing 60 seconds of air squats before your biggest meal of the day. Maybe it's taking a 5-minute cold shower in the morning. Or maybe it's trying the slow-carb diet for just 5 days, knowing you have a glorious cheat day waiting for you at the end. Make it a game. See what happens. This journey isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming better, one small, effective dose at a time. It's about realizing you have more power than you think to invent the future you want, starting with the body you live in every day. That was a summary of The 4-Hour Body by Timothy Ferriss. We've journeyed through some of its most powerful ideas today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary can only ever be a map. The real treasure is found when you walk the path yourself. The true magic of a book like this happens in the quiet moments of reading, when a particular story or a simple phrase connects with you in a way you didn't expect. This summary is your guide to help you decide if this book is worth your time and attention. If anything we've talked about today has sparked your curiosity or resonated with a goal you have, I truly encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning new facts, it's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see your own potential. A link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and it gave you something to think about, please do me a small favor and hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the world's most successful minds. Let's keep learning and growing together.